Hello and welcome back to the Dinar Daily, your dedicated source for breaking developments and detailed analysis regarding the Iraqi dinar and related global currency markets. We are diving straight into a report that is currently dominating discussions across the financial spectrum, centering on what is being described as a definitive and historic update from the Middle East. For those who have followed the long and often complex journey of Iraq's economic reforms, the latest information circulating suggests that the waiting period for tangible confirmation may have finally concluded. According to a widely discussed report, the Iraq Gazette, the official government publication responsible for codifying laws and legally binding notices, has purportedly released a confirmation that validates the long-awaited revaluation of the national currency. This development, if fully realized as described, would mark the transition from years of speculation to a verified economic reality, fundamentally altering the landscape for holders and observers alike. To understand the gravity of this announcement, one must first appreciate the role of the Iraq Gazette itself. This is not merely a newspaper or a platform for opinion, it is the primary legal record for the state of Iraq. In most sovereign nations, a law or financial mandate does not technically exist or hold enforcement power until it is printed in the official Gazette. The significance of this particular report lies in the assertion that the new exchange rate is no longer a topic of closed-door parliamentary debates or theoretical economic modeling, but has been printed, published, and confirmed as a matter of public record. The narrative emerging from this release emphasizes that the publication includes explicit details on monetary policy adjustments, signaling to the international community that the Central Bank of Iraq has formally initiated a new era for its currency, moving away from provisional rates and toward a globally recognized valuation. The specifics contained within this report are turning heads due to the sheer magnitude of the numbers presented. The document, which is dated September 6, 2025, in the narrative provided, outlines a dramatic shift in the monetary policy of the nation. It details a move that would see the Iraqi dinar essentially leapfrog from its previous standing to a rate that positions it among the higher-valued currencies in the global market. The figure cited in the Gazette documentation is a rate of 1 Iraqi dinar to $3.91. For an economy that has spent decades managing a currency valued at fractions of a penny, this represents a staggering appreciation of over 450%. Such a figure is almost unprecedented in modern economic history, suggesting a complete restoration of the currency's purchasing power to levels that exceed its pre-war status, aiming to reflect the country's vast natural resource wealth and rebuilt financial reserves. This massive shift is reportedly triggering immediate logistical responses within the global financial infrastructure. The report indicates that the digital version of the Gazette, which is accessible to international observers and financial institutions, has prompted a wave of activity across major banking platforms. It is described that foreign exchange desks and institutional investors have acknowledged the publication and have actively begun the process of recalibrating their trading systems to accommodate this new valuation. The narrative suggests that this is not a localized event limited to Baghdad, but a global synchronization where financial terminals in Europe and the Middle East have had to temporarily pause trading on the dinar to update their algorithms and exchange tables. This points to a coordinated effort to ensure that the international banking system is prepared to handle transactions at this new, significantly higher rate. Further emphasizing the legitimacy of this move, the Gazette report purportedly includes direct commentary from the Central Bank of Iraq. The statement effective immediately announces the application of the new exchange rate in strict coordination with international monetary authorities. This is a critical detail because it underscores that the revaluation is not a rogue move by a single nation, but rather the result of a coordinated framework involving global regulators. The language used in the report highlights regional and international economic reforms, suggesting that Iraq has met the necessary compliance standards to reintegrate fully into the global market. This coordination is intended to ensure stability and prevent the kind of market volatility that typically accompanies such massive shifts in currency valuation, providing a structured pathway for the dinar's re-entry onto the world stage. The backstory leading to this moment is essential for contextualizing why this Gazette publication is being viewed as the final piece of the puzzle. For the past 2 years, analysts have been closely monitoring a series of strategic moves by the Iraqi government that hinted at this outcome. Among these signals were comprehensive audits conducted by the central bank, which were designed to reassure the world of the integrity of Iraq's financial reporting. These audits reportedly demonstrated not only strict compliance with international anti-money laundering standards, but also confirmed that the nation's foreign currency reserves had reached historically high levels. These reserves serve as the collateral and foundation for the currency, and their strength is what makes a revaluation of this magnitude mathematically and economically feasible rather than just theoretical. In tandem with these financial audits, there has been a significant push toward what economists call de-dollarization within the Iraqi domestic economy. The report highlights how Iraq has increasingly moved to conduct oil sales and energy contracts in dinars, rather than solely relying on the US dollar. This strategy is designed to create organic demand for the national currency, thereby elevating its global utility and value. Furthermore, the signing of multiple memorandums of understanding with Gulf states and other trade partners has established currency settlement frameworks that support regional integration. These actions, which have been unfolding over the last 24 months, painted a clear picture of a nation preparing to restore its currency's sovereign status, a process that the Gazette publication now seemingly confirms has reached its zenith. Reaction from regional experts has been swift, further validating the significance of the Gazette's release. The narrative cites Baghdad University economist Ali Madi, who noted that the revaluation had been in strategic preparation for over 2 years. His perspective is that the publishing of the rate signals finality, echoing the sentiments of many regional observers who believed that the economic reforms were building toward a transformative event. The consensus among these experts is that the legal confirmation provided by the Gazette removes the ambiguity that has clouded the investment landscape for years. It transforms the discussion from one of if and when to a matter of procedural implementation, forcing the banking sector to recognize the dinar as a formidable asset rather than a speculative placeholder. The international perspective is equally compelling, with financial strategists in major hubs like London and New York reportedly weighing in on the development. Dr. Ghazal Tamimi, a senior economic advisor on Middle Eastern financial systems, is quoted as stating that the Iraqi government has finally untied the dinar from its legacy constraints. He describes the event as a financial realignment that could place Iraq at the very center of Middle Eastern trade. Similarly, currency market strategists have emphasized that the shock to the system is not necessarily the revaluation itself, but the speed and precision with which it is being executed. The Gazette publication essentially acts as a starting gun, eliminating doubt and compelling banks worldwide to update their back-end systems to reflect the new reality of a high-value Iraqi currency. Reports from within the United States banking sector suggest that the preparation for this event has been happening behind the scenes for some time. An unnamed executive at a major bank revealed that internal updates have shown back-end rates fluctuating between 3.91 and 4.26 across Tier 1 institutions. This variation suggests that while the Gazette establishes a baseline, There may be slight differences in the rates offered depending on institutional contracts and the volume of currency being exchanged. This internal chatter reinforces the idea that the revaluation is being treated as a serious operational priority by the world's largest financial entities, who are now moving to ensure their branch networks are equipped to handle the expected surge in exchange activity from currency holders. A significant portion of the discussion surrounding this news focuses on the logistics of the exchange process for what are termed Tier 4B investors. This classification generally refers to private individuals who hold the currency, as opposed to governments or large financial corporations. For this group, the Gazette confirmation is the signal to begin organizing for redemption. The narrative advises that preparation is paramount, noting that banks will likely require strict adherence to protocol. This includes ensuring that physical currency is organized, clean, and free of severe damage, as high-speed verification machines used by banks are sensitive and may reject notes that are taped, torn, or excessively worn. The emphasis is on presenting a professional and compliant package to facilitate a smooth transaction. Documentation is another critical aspect of the preparation phase highlighted in the reports. Holders are strongly encouraged to locate and preserve their purchase receipts, particularly if the currency was acquired through online dealers or international exchanges. While the currency itself is a bearer instrument, having a paper trail can assist in verifying the legitimacy of the holding and may prove essential during the vetting process at the bank. Additionally, valid government-issued identification, such as a passport, national ID, or driver's license, will be a non-negotiable requirement. The report warns that most institutions will refuse to entertain large-scale exchanges without verified credentials, as they must comply with strict Know Your Customer (KYC) regulations mandated by federal oversight bodies. The actual procedure at the bank is described as being highly regulated and formal. The narrative suggests that holders should not expect to simply walk into a branch and exchange currency at the teller window. Instead, appointments will likely be required specifically with the foreign exchange departments of Tier 1 institutions. Once at the appointment, the currency will undergo machine authentication to detect counterfeits and confirm serial numbers. Following verification, the bank will present the official exchange rate. At this stage, for those with significant holdings, there may be opportunities to enter into private contract rates or incentive programs, although the baseline rate published in the Gazette remains the standard offer for the general public. Security and privacy measures are expected to be tight during these transactions. For substantial exchanges, banks may request that individuals sign non-disclosure agreements and DAS. These legal documents are standard in high-value financial transactions and are designed to protect the privacy of both the client and the institution. Following the signing of necessary compliance forms, the discussion moves to the method of settlement. The report outlines that funds can typically be received via direct deposit into a secure account or as a cashier's check. It is noted that while smaller transactions might clear instantly, larger multi-million-dollar conversions could require a clearance window of 24 to 72 hours to satisfy anti-money laundering checks and interbank transfer protocols. Amidst the excitement of the revaluation, there is a strong and urgent warning regarding scams and fraudulent actors. The narrative explicitly cautions that whenever a major financial shift occurs, criminals attempt to exploit the confusion. Reports are already surfacing of fake brokers and misleading websites claiming to offer exclusive, higher rates or special access in exchange for upfront fees. The report makes it absolutely clear: no legitimate financial institution will ever ask for a payment in advance to exchange currency. If any entity requests money for processing fees or taxes before the exchange takes place, it is a definitive sign of a scam. Holders are urged to exercise extreme caution and to disengage immediately from any such solicitations. A specific red flag mentioned involves requests to mail or ship physical currency to a distant location for verification. The report advises that real exchanges only happen in secure, in-person environments, where the holder retains possession of their currency until the moment it is verified and exchanged across a desk. Similarly, email or phone solicitations promising secret contract rates in exchange for personal data or clicked links are identified as classic phishing tactics. The safest course of action, according to the guidance provided, is to deal exclusively with recognized brick-and-mortar banks and established exchange centers, avoiding any third-party intermediaries who operate solely through the internet or social media apps. The geopolitical response to this event adds another layer of credibility to the unfolding story. Sources indicate that the U.S. Treasury Department has issued directives to federally regulated banks to prepare for the influx of foreign currency exchange requests. These internal memos reportedly emphasize the need for strict compliance with reporting requirements, while ensuring that U.S. citizens have access to the verified public rates. This level of oversight suggests that the U.S. government is closely monitoring this situation to ensure an orderly transition of wealth. It implies that the revaluation is viewed not just as a foreign affair, but as a domestic financial event that requires regulatory supervision to prevent bottlenecks or systemic issues within the American banking network. Furthermore, the International Monetary Fund (IMF) has reportedly issued a supportive statement regarding Iraq's monetary reforms. While the IMF typically uses diplomatic and technical language, the narrative interprets their recent comments as a clear endorsement of Iraq's new foreign exchange policy. By acknowledging that the Iraqi government's actions reflect a disciplined and results-oriented strategy, the IMF signals to the global community that Iraq is operating within the bounds of accepted economic practice. This stamp of approval is vital for instilling confidence in institutional investors, as it confirms that the new rate is sustainable and backed by sound economic fundamentals, rather than being an artificial inflation of value. The psychological aspect of this transition is also addressed in the report, acknowledging the years of skepticism that have surrounded the dinar. For over 2 decades, holders have faced doubt from peers and financial pundits who dismissed the possibility of a revaluation. The release of the Gazette report serves as a vindication for those who maintained their positions. However, the narrative advises that this is not a time for gloating but for grounded decision-making. The sudden realization of significant wealth can be overwhelming, and the report suggests that maintaining a calm, business-like mindset is crucial for navigating the days ahead. The shift from holding a speculative asset to managing liquid capital requires a change in perspective and a focus on long-term stewardship. Taxation is a topic that inevitably arises with such a significant financial event. The report touches upon the necessity of consulting with qualified professionals, since the conversion of currency can trigger capital gains taxes or other fiscal obligations depending on the jurisdiction. Acting without professional advice could lead to unintended liabilities. The narrative recommends engaging with a certified public accountant or a tax attorney who specializes in foreign exchange or wealth management. This step is presented as an integral part of the exchange process, ensuring that the newfound wealth is preserved and that the holder remains in full compliance with their local tax laws. Another practical consideration involves the physical security of the assets prior to exchange. With the value of the notes reportedly skyrocketing, the security risks associated with holding the physical paper increase proportionately. The report advises holders to secure their currency in a fireproof safe, a safety deposit box, or a similarly secure location. Treating the currency with the same level of care one would afford to gold or diamonds is now the standard recommendation. This precaution prevents loss due to theft, fire, or misplacement during the critical window between the announcement and the actual appointment at the bank. As the banking systems finalize their updates and the new rate propagates through the global network, the focus shifts to the readiness of the holders. The narrative encourages individuals to be proactive by contacting their banks to inquire about specific scheduling procedures. It is noted that different banks may have different protocols. Some may have dedicated wealth management teams for this specific event, while others may route customers through their standard foreign exchange desks. Gaining clarity on which branch to visit and what specific requirements they have can save valuable time and reduce stress on the day of the exchange. The report also touches on the potential for teaser rates, warning that some institutions might offer rates lower than the Gazette confirmed baseline in an attempt to capitalize on the urgency of uninformed holders. The advice here is to be patient and well-informed. By knowing the official rate published in the Gazette, holders can ensure they are receiving fair market value for their assets. Negotiation, while not always guaranteed, is mentioned as a possibility for those who are aware of the accurate data and are willing to stand firm during the transaction process. This underscores the importance of relying on verified information rather than hearsay. Ultimately, the story portrayed by this breaking news is one of preparation meeting opportunity. The alignment of the Iraqi Gazette's publication, the readiness of the U.S. Treasury, and the supportive stance of the IMF creates a comprehensive picture of a global financial event in motion. The narrative concludes that the window for speculation has closed, replaced by a window for action. For the families and individuals who have held onto this currency, the report signifies the start of a new chapter, defined not by waiting, but by strategic execution of their financial plans. From the Dinar Daily, we will continue to monitor every aspect of this developing story, from the operational status of redemption centers to further updates from the Central Bank of Iraq. As the situation evolves and more verified details emerge regarding the implementation phase, staying connected to reliable sources of information remains the best defense against confusion. The journey of the Iraqi dinar has been long and arduous, but if today's reports are accurate, the destination has finally been reached. Thank you for tuning in and stay vigilant as we navigate this historic financial shift together.